Hey everyone, welcome back to another Mini-Sode where today we'll be talking about Arx Fatalis. Our story takes place on a world where the sun has vanished, causing all surface dwellers to make their homes underground in massive caves. You play as a prisoner who awakens with no memory of how he got there and must quickly escape the goblin prison. When he arrives at the city of Arx, it is there that our hero's true purpose is revealed, with his main mission being to defeat and imprison Akba, the god of destruction, before it takes over Arx. The story here isn't as massive when compared to Elder Scrolls III Morrowind, which came out a few months before this one, but fans of the Ultima games will enjoy what's here, especially when Arx was supposed to be Ultima Underworld's third installment. However, the publisher, good old Electronic Arts, wouldn't allow it unless Arcane Studios made it their way, which they refused. Still though, there's a pretty good narrative here to enjoy. Speaking of Ultima Underworld and Morrowind, Arx is a first-person action RPG, where you explore the areas and fight an assortment of enemies in order to complete your quests, both main and secondary, in which there are many ways to do so. You could go all stealth, use an assortment of spells, or just hack and slash everything with your sword, club, or whatever you got lying around. Speaking of magic, on PC, Arx uses a unique mechanic where you use the mouse to cast your spells by gesturing the runes in order to cast them. Since Xbox doesn't have a mouse, instead a more simpler method is used, where you press the D-pad in whatever direction the runes point to cast a spell. Sorta like inputting a special move in a fighting game. On paper this isn't bad, but sometimes the execution isn't the best, especially in a fight. Thankfully, you can turn on an even simpler method where you just pick the spell from a list and cast it. Honestly though, I didn't really use that much magic in my playthrough, so I ended up forgetting about it until the game would remind me that I could cast magic. If you're more into just using a sword like I am though, combat is decent enough, with a charge meter that lets you do more damage the longer you hold the attack button. Plus, whichever direction you're moving while attacking can change the motion of swing you perform. As for everything else, you can craft items by combining them together in your inventory, like a key ring, potions, or even pies out of cooking ingredients. One thing I thought was a little weird is how you shop in this game. Instead of talking to a shopkeep and going to a menu, you browse through the chests in their store and then you buy and sell from there. I mean, I guess that's more intuitive? I don't know. Bottom line, Arx plays fine, no doubt about that. It's a little rough in spots, but after a while you get used to it. Maybe not so much with the magic, at least the regular magic mode. Visually, Arx is dark, gritty, brown, ugly, and depressing. With me, that would normally be a mark against it, but the whole game does take place in a giant series of caves, so in that instance, the game looks really good. There's some slowdown here and there, and just like Morrowind, this big RPG on Xbox suffers from big crashes. Character models are surprisingly well done. In fact, it kinda looks like the humans might have been people who had their face scans done and digitized onto the models. Kind of, I'm not entirely sure. For audio, there's not too much music in the game, but it's pretty good. It's more about ambiance really than anything else. And as for the voice acting, there's really good, really bad, and really just so amazingly awful that it's wonderful.
You are not just a normal human. You are the devil. Help! I have seen the devil!
Arx Fatalis is one of the better action RPGs I've played from this era. Although, with today's lower end PCs being able to run it, it's hard for me to recommend the big green version to play, other than for collection purposes. Like many PC to Xbox ports I've talked about on this show, it's not that it's a horrible port. It was great for those who couldn't run it on PC back then, or didn't want to bother with one. But nowadays, you can get it on all major PC gaming apps for dirt cheap, and with fan-made patches and mods, it plays much better. As it stands, it's nice that Morrowind wasn't the only PC to Xbox big action RPG in this style on the big green to play, and variety is always a good thing. And with that, this is the Dali Popka, and as always, stay green my friends, I'll see you next time.